So we just have a couple of other things to do, celebrating a little bit further Barbara Ward's memory and looking not just back at the last 50 years, but forward into the next 50 years of IIED. So yeah, for 50 years now, IIED has worked in partnership with many of you here and many more around the world, and particularly in the Global South, as a change maker. And now with global crises as urgent as ever, we're entering into a new chapter and taking the opportunity to build on our legacy and deal with some of the blockers that we have identified that are slowing down the action we need to take on climate, but also that are preventing us from getting to this vision of sustainable development that Barbara Ward had all those years ago. And so we are really excited to launch today our new manifesto for a thriving world. We're going to tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to just say a few words. I'm going to show you a little video, and then James is going to say a few words as well. But this manifesto is a fresh take on sustainability. And this is really important for me. It remains true to the concept developed by Barbara Ward back in 1972, the year I was born, very precious year to me. And that combined a commitment to meeting people's needs with a recognition of the Earth's finite ecological capacity. So when people say to me, oh, we don't know what sustainable development is, I'm like, we do. We've been talking about it in consistent terms since 1972. We do know what it is, and we need to remain true to that vision. So we're not departing from that in IIED. But when we look now, we need different answers and different approaches. There's things we've done in the past 50 years that haven't worked. The context has changed completely. So what do we need to do differently? And that's what this manifesto recognizes. So it looks at all of that and sets out a fresh approach for IIED. And it starts us on a new chapter. So IIED has evolved from tackling discrete issues with a few deeply valued partners, and our partners are our goals in IIED, to taking an interconnected view of the global challenges, providing a strong and flexible backbone of support to coalitions of organizations who are progressing sustainable development around the world. We were celebrating David Satterthwaite today, and he reminded us that we can't have an impact alone, not one person, not one organization. It is only through collective action and collaboration that we can have the impact we want to have on the world. So changing the systems that perpetuate the climate, nature, and inequality crisis facing the world is, at its heart, the pursuit of justice. And that's what Barbara Ward taught us all. The use of power and wealth held by a few privileged countries and super rich individuals, as we heard, must now be transformed by and with the people and the countries who have historically been exploited. We also heard with David earlier today that we need to listen more than we talk. And that needs to continue to be part of what stamps us out as different as an organization as we step into our new chapter. We need to adapt fast and together as we sense opportunities to scale up solutions and tip the balance in favor of positive change. For IIED, this means placing more attention on the often hidden handbrakes that hold damaging systems in place. And it's about being ready to work with very varied and different alliances of diverse organizations. Tom Mitchell, IIED's executive director, has been working so hard to prepare for today. And bless him, he has caught COVID at the Community-Based Adaptation Conference in Tanzania last week and is very sick. I mean, he said today it's his first day that he's missed from IIED since he joined over 2 years ago because he's ill. So we all feel really bad for Tom. And Tom, we're sending you a message and we're doing our best to fill in for you. But when Tom was brought on board, succeeding Andy Norton, who's here in the front, we gave Tom as a board the mandate to go and figure out how to create the change in the organization that we needed to be fit for purpose for the next 50 years. And he has taken that on and led a process of over a year right across the Institute to develop this manifesto for change. And this is the work, the ideas and the values of everyone in IIED. So it has been a truly collaborative and inclusive process, and it charts out what we want to do in our next phase, in our next 50 years. So this manifesto gives me hope. We've spoken a lot about hope this evening, that by working together, we can reverse global warming, nature degradation, and inequality, and that's exactly what we need to do to achieve sustainable development. In the words of Barbara Ward, we have a duty to hope. I love that. We have a duty to hope, and to give that possibility to everybody, to let them know that we can strive for something better. So I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce a short film that brings IIED's new manifesto to life. And then James Persad, who is Director of Communications for IIED and a last-minute standing man for Tom Mitchell, will come and give us a few words about the manifesto. So next, the video. Thank you.
For more than 50 years, IIED has been striving to make development sustainable, with the purpose to build a fairer, more sustainable world. Using evidence, action, and influence in partnership with others, we've shaped many key global policy moments and helped marginalized voices get to the decision table. But it has not been enough. To tackle the triple crisis of climate change, nature loss, and inequality, we need to reimagine IIED. Our manifesto for a thriving world is a rallying call for all those ready for change. The world around us is changing too fast and too unpredictably for rigid planning, fixed departments, and slow decisions. IIED will bring a fresh approach to accelerating us towards a thriving world. We will innovate and experiment more with dynamic yet focused multi-skill teams. Work with alliances of diverse organizations. Be a backbone that enables partners to go further, faster. Be more plugged into different places to sense what's possible. Be more vocal and confident where the evidence is clear, while maintaining our hallmarks of quality practical research, all the while striving for justice through equitable partnerships. The roads ahead will not be straight lines. The challenges we all face call for bravery, and we'll need to take some risks. But together, we can build a thriving world for people and planet. IIED's Connected Ambition, 2024 and beyond.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Mafalda. It's a real honour, and I'm humbled to share stage tonight with two great leaders in the field. It's also a real privilege to share with you the highlights of IIED's manifesto for a thriving world this evening. I'd like to personally wish Tom Mitchell a speedy recovery from COVID. He is absolutely gutted that he can't be here tonight, and I'm really sorry that you've got me in his place. He's asked me to say a few words on his behalf, but I've embellished them a little bit. My name is James Persad. I'm the Director of Communications at IIED. I've had a small part to play in the development of this manifesto alongside brilliant colleagues, partners, funders and associates, and its ultimate creative expression. For those of us who are too young or too new to the sector, IIED has been at the forefront of sustainable development for over 50 years, informing global policy moments. For example, in 1975, IIED convened the Vancouver Symposium to determine priorities for the first ever Habitat Conference. In 1992, we played a significant role in the Rio Earth Summit, and we're in full support of marginalised nations negotiating at COP21 in Paris in 2015. There is no way of looking back at IIED's 50 years of history without celebrating its founder, Barbara Ward. Why we're here tonight. I dug out a quote from David Runnels, who I understand was the first IIED employee. David, now a distinguished fellow with IISD, said, "I think Barbara was one of the most remarkable women of the 20th century." He also recalls that because of her, IIED became the first institution to systematically look at the relationship between the environment and development and make this link the focus of our work, a focus that prevails today. It is this focus that we have put under renewed scrutiny in the course of creating our new strategy for 2024 and beyond, resulting in this, our manifesto for a thriving world. Because despite all of the progress, the education, the awareness building and partnering that has taken place worldwide over the past 50 years and before, the world is still sleepwalking into an ever worsening state, despite everything we know about what the problems are and also what can be done to address them. IIED could continue to do more of the same work that we have been doing, which no doubt would be more comfortable, but it is not enough. So this manifesto has tried to identify why that is happening and describes 4 critical blockers that we believe are holding back swifter progress on climate and social justice, and 6 core areas of work that IIED has a track record of impact and positive outcomes in that we will continue to build on together with our partners. We have looked at every facet of our work, literally everything's been up in the air, including our mission, our values, our governance models, and our behaviours in the world and with each other. And we've taken inspiration from many different organisational and natural processes and approaches. I am pleased to say our mission will remain exactly the same: to build a fairer, more sustainable world using evidence, action and influence, working in partnership with others. However, in the manifesto, you will see that we have co-created new values to act as more than just words on a page or to be stuck on an office wall. They are values to guide us and to live by. They are values that centre care and well-being of marginalised people, of you, of our partners and funders, and of ourselves. They are values that embrace worldviews from across the globe that will educate us about points of view from the world that are not simply the one we grew up in, and that always focus us on having an influence and an impact. They are values that will actively nurture equitable partnerships and help IIED continue on its journey to become anchored in anti-racist and decolonised principles. We are developing a new theory of change. You will see it visualised in the manifesto, which are sitting outside in the bar. The theory of change embraces two core new aspects: learning as we go, so sensing and adapting in real time, responding to major moments such as COVID, the Black Lives Matter movement, the cost of living crisis and conflict. One that means we should not be too fixed to one plan and one plan only with fixed 5-year KPIs. The theory of change also embraces the benefits of very clear communications, using language that is plain and simple to understand for all, and to not be shrouded in academic or development jargon. What else is going to change? Firstly, IIED does lots of things brilliantly, and this is about cherishing those even more. We're great at bringing practical insights from communities around the world and profiling these at key decision tables and moments. For example, David Satterthwaite, who we've heard about tonight, who we celebrated this morning, typifies as a champion for people living in informal settlements and bringing evidence forward that has led to huge upgrades around the world. We are at the heart of being neutral, trusted brokers and hosts of key initiatives. For example, the chair of the IPCC's office, Professor Jim Skier, is with us here in the front row tonight. The support to the Least Developed Countries Group and Life AR, the Green Economy Coalition and REDAR, among many others. Secondly, we must build dynamic alliances and portfolio approaches to our work with partners to address big complex challenges. In that respect, IIED can bring new ideas and innovations to stuck problems, but do so alongside others and push ourselves to find often uncomfortable bedfellows. This is why we have chosen to orient our interventions around 6 deeply interconnected visions or propositions and direct our attention to overcoming a set of 4 major blockers to change. Our propositions for a thriving world are to help displaced people to have brighter futures, reform trade, finance and investment for people and planet, evolve cities as places for inspiration and justice, nurture food systems that nourish us and the planet, transform climate resilience for survival and prosperity, and reinvent nature governance and stewardship. What else is going to change? We will stop having fixed departments and groups like we used to, and instead move to a much more dynamic task team model, where multi-skilled teams form to advance a key intervention or achieve a task, and then we change as an institute where we learn how systems react to what we are trying. IIED is then in itself a portfolio of interventions to learn from, test, evolve and adapt, and we'd love to work with others in a similar way. This is why we are proud to be part of things like the Systems Climate Action Collaborative, the Locally Led Action Community of Practice, or ALL-ACT, focused on tackling loss and damage. And you can see some examples of the interventions we are aiming to scale in the manifesto itself. Finally, we will place much more focus on equitable partnerships and use our voice and power to tackle the hidden handbrakes that hold back more transformative action on climate, nature and inequality. This means working more here in the UK, in Europe, and in the big centres of power, and in ways consistent with our new values, as I mentioned above. It is great to see members of IIED Europe with us as a strong signal of what we mean. This is also consistent with our commitment to decolonise with care and act as a bridge and a connecting backbone for partners and alliances to overcome simple, outdated notions of a development paradigm that no longer holds. Internally, we are placing more emphasis on skills development, supporting our globally distributed workforce, seeking unrestricted and flexible funding so we can be agile and able to learn fast, and having a more dynamic governance structure with council and elected representatives and devolve leadership and decision power to task teams. In doing this, we think we can be more impactful, a new type of independent change-making organisation, better equipped for the global complex challenges we face. But the most important thing, in my opinion, in the manifesto is the focus on collaborations for impact. When more of us work together on the same problem at the same time, the working hypothesis is that whatever it is that's stuck is more likely to become unstuck the more of us there are using our respective strengths to pull on that lever of change. And it is there that the manifesto becomes really different and interesting for me. We move from a place with myriad fragmented outcomes to one where there are possibly fewer but bigger and more sustainable outcomes. We recognise that there are many organisations and individuals doing masses of great work to make the planet work in a fairer and more sustainable way. And we would love to work with you so that we can connect up the work you are doing with your partners to the work we're doing with IIED partners across the world to turn our combined efforts into a truly connected ambition for a thriving world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James. Very excellent standing in at very last minute. So as you can see, we are super proud, everyone in IIED, the entire team, the board, to be able to launch our manifesto. So don't forget to take a copy. And it really, now we get to go and have a drink and relax. So you are all invited to join us down here. Follow the hand signals, and we'll have some. We'd love to have a drink with you all and get to talk to you. And thank you so much, all of you, for being here to remember Barbara Ward, to honour great women in sustainability, and now to have this opportunity to talk to each other and create new collaborations, because I think that is what it's all about. So thank you all very, very much.